Hey everybody, Kyle Zempel here from Black Earth Angling Company. Today I'm going to be tying up a trout fly for you that you should have in your box. Maybe not this exact pattern, but you should have at least a few of them in your trout box if you are fishing around here in the Driftless. The critter I'm going to tie up today is a scud pattern. We all know that there's a million different ways to tie a scud pattern. This is just mine that I like and I find it effective. You know, if you don't have a box full of scuds rolling around in your pack when you're out on the spring creeks, you're probably doing something a little wrong. It's a go-to pattern. They're in the water year-round. They live there, and you can kind of use it any time of the year and find some success on it. You know, if I come to a new place and I don't necessarily know what to use, it's a great fly to tie on first. You want to have a good array of sizes and colors and weights in your box. You want some that are going to plummet down to the bottom of that deepest pool. So super heavy, oversized bead, maybe some extra wraps in there to really get that sucker down. And you want some that are also lightweight that you can fish through the riffles in shallow water because fish will certainly be eating them in there as well. So I tie my scud with Ice Dub. And I got turned on to this by a friend of mine named Jim Bartelt, a longtime guide in the Madison area. He runs a guide outfit called Spring Creek Specialists. And Jim sat down with me and he showed me his Ice Dub Scud pattern and I had never seen it tied with Ice Dub before. And so, you know, I was kind of asking, you know, why Ice Dub? And he showed me some pictures of an actual scud in the sunlight. It's kind of translucent. This particular scud looked a little tan in color, and then he showed me, you know, his scud while it was wet in the light, and it looked really similar to an actual scud, and as close to the color scheme as I had really seen, where it had some translucence to it. So I started playing around, and so I came to some of my favorites. I would say would be taking some UV olive and some UV gray and blending those together to make like an olive gray color. I like UV tan a whole bunch. I like just straight gray. I also find that if you do want like one of those pink or orange color scuds, it's nice to maybe take some of that UV orange or pink and mix it in with some of the tan. Then it's not as overpowering. It has a nice look in the water. I find sometimes if you put just like the bright UV pink, it just looks way out of place in the water, and I'm sure the fish will still eat them. However, I like to look a little more natural out there, with my scuds. So I guess let's certainly show you this pattern. Again, there's 100 different ways to do it. This is just the way I like to tie mine. So yeah, enjoy this one. Grab yourself a nail and let's tie a few up. All right, we're going to start with a size 14 scud hook here. We're going to put ourselves a tungsten bead on there. I think this is a 3.5. Give yourself a nice base of thread. We're going to wrap our thread down just around the bend of the back of the hook. And we're going to bring in some Krystal flash here. I like to take 3 strands and I burn the end together so that you have kind of a little 3-strand hank. That'll be our tail material. Tie that in. Next we'll bring in some copper wire. Whoa! Next we'll bring in some copper wire. This will act as the ribbing for the fly. Tie that down. I like to tie the length of the hook. It better secures it in there. And then the scud back will be pearl tinsel. This acts as the back shell of the scud. Gonna tie that in, back of the hook. Now we want to taper the body of the scud. So it's kind of fat in the middle and tapers on both ends. Next, our Ice Dub, the UV tan here is what we're using. Add a little bit of dubbing wax to that thread to help keep your dubbing noodle nice and tight. Start with about a 3-inch long noodle to start. That usually doesn't give me all the way, but it'll give me at least halfway. Again, making sure that we are, tapering this body so that it's thin on the ends and fat in the middle. Add a little bit more dubbing here to finish up the fly. We're going to bring that tinsel up and over the top of the fly. Again, this is acting as the shell of the scud. Scuds are crustaceans. They have an outer shell that goes over their back. You could use a strip of Ziploc bag here as well if you don't want something so flashy. I just like the flashy look that it gives. We're gonna wrap our copper wire forward, giving about a medium pressure on our wrap to make some segmenting. This ups the durability of the fly and also gives it a better lifelike look. Tie that in, helicopter it off. And now we are going to whip finish. At this point you can use a little Velcro tool to brush out the fly, give it a leggy look. How much you brush it out, it's up to you. I like a nice leggy fly. It gives a good profile in the water. I'm going to trim those legs up a little bit so they're not so long. Bring in a little adhesive for durability sakes. We'll be catching a lot of trout with this fly, so you want to make sure it doesn't fall apart on you. And then all we have to do is just trim that Krystal Flash tail to length. Pop it out of the vise. Trim it about a 1/4 inch or so. Maybe a little bit more. That should about wrap up this fly. Now, again, this is a fly you can definitely tie in different colors, sizes, and weights. And when I usually tie about a dozen at a time of a specific size or weight. That about does it, folks. Thanks a lot for tuning in to this episode of Drinking with Scissors. Support your local fly shop, and we'll see you next time.